Hello. Can you hear me? You need to sort out your audio.
Hello.
Hi everyone. My name is Untor. Thanks for joining us. It's almost 5 o'clock. So instead of just the silence, let me just start by introducing myself and then basically why we're here today and how it's going to go. I'm Funto Acumen, the founder of Product Manager Africa, a network of product managers in Africa and of Africans in other parts of the world. And then it's World Product Day, as we all know. So I'm pleased to have these great speakers with us to share with us a wealth of experience, their professional journey, contribution in terms of products they've built, and how they're impacting lives. And we're looking forward to hearing from the several groups of people that we're speaking today. We have the team made up of product managers, made up of product designers, engineers, and of course we have the CEOs and founders also who were probably once product managers or they were once engineers before they founded their companies. So they will also be joining us to talk about their journey and what they've done so far. So I guess before we start, we're waiting for, we have 3 moderators for the day. Let me show myself, sorry. We have 3 moderators, myself, Isaac, and Toby. Yeah. So it'll be good to see people's faces. Hi. Hi, thanks for joining us.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, hi. How's it going?
Now, it's totally on the call. It's 5 o'clock, and I think we should actually start because it's actually, I want us to do things the right way, not the African way. So we're starting on the dot of 5. So Adatugo will be going first. She'll be sharing with us her product journey, what she's done so far, and basically, well, so maybe I'll allow her to introduce herself. So Adatugo, please start. So I think Toby is joining us. She'll take over from me once she comes in, but Adatugo, please start. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, everyone. I trust we're all keeping safe and well during this period, and happy World Product Day. My name is Adatugo Uibanji, and I am a product manager at Now Nigeria. I am from Nigeria also, and I'm going to start right off by talking about what my product journey has been like, how I started and how I got to where I am today. And I would imagine that my product journey, is pretty chalk. That is plain because I started at a fintech company as a business analyst, and then I moved to the support/operations department, and that was a learning curve for me because that's where I learned a whole lot. In fact, I believe that every product manager, or what makes a good product manager, actually centers around you understanding and focusing on your customers' pain points, their needs, finding a solution to them, all in line with building a customer-centric product and ensuring that there's product and market fit to the, that's very important. And that was part of the things that I actually learned in support and operations team at Remita. I moved from there onto the bank / we call it infrastructure partnerships team. And that was where I built my business and tech acumen, a lot of which was lacking as at that time, which then spurred me to my next journey at Now Nigeria. And that was how I got into product management proper. Now, I will tell you for a fact that when I was at System Specs flagship product is Remita. That's where I had my most salient years. I mean, I really started from the bottom while I was at System Specs, and every experience that I had there, both good and bad, it's what makes me, grateful for that particular journey. In fact, I don't take it for granted. And there's something I want to say for those who are just starting out in their career in product management. I would say for a fact that it does get better. And, as long as you're willing to put in the hard work, this is a word of encouragement for you. It definitely does get better. Trust me. And I'm extremely lucky also to have some good mentors that I met along the way who, they were willing to put in time, speaking to me about product management and all that. They were all veterans in that particular line. And, I learned a lot at Remita and now at Now. Because Now is what I would call an innovative startup. And the wealth of experience, I had to put on several hats: business, marketing, sales, even recruitment, HR duties that were not just limited to, a product role. The experience to date has been really mind-blowing for me. And that has helped me put myself out there intentionally. I currently co-manage a team of 4 product analysts and 13 offshore developers who are based in India. I have started learning more. I've started attending more meetups, taking courses, volunteering, networking with product people globally. And, people who are just like myself, building products, delightful products that are changing the world one day at a time. So I know that I am where I am today because of this journey, and I'm proud of that part that has led me there. I'm not done yet because there's so much more to learn and explore. But what I would say is perspective. Perspective is such a huge deal, and having it now makes me question everything that I did prior to that, because probably I wasn't thinking on those lines. So before it turns out, for those who are listening to me today, into an avoidable mistake for you that you will make whilst building your career, you need to be intentional and always set out with a goal in mind. And also, most importantly, you need to hold yourself accountable for achieving that goal and always measure your progress along the way. That's how you know whether you're in line with what you have set out for yourself to do. And, that pretty much sums up what my product journey has actually been like. And the next thing I'm going to do would be to move on to the products I currently manage. Now, like I mentioned earlier, it's an innovative startup. Yeah, we're licensed by CBN as mobile money service providers, promoting fintech services, but we are actually here to actually positively contribute and to also challenge the existing payment system in the country to promote mobile wallet services. Also, most importantly, we're also solving the problem of financial inclusion. And that's exactly what the issue is for us. That was how Now came about. We're trying to bring financial inclusion to the banks, low-income segments of the country at affordable costs. And we also aim to also bring agency banking and other value-added services to corner shops around your neighborhood. By encouraging people to actually make use of our products, and to also build the largest robust fintech agent network in Nigeria. So that's what the aim of Now is. And the problem that we are solving is actually financial exclusion. Now, it took us about 2 years in 2016 to bring this new idea to life. Inclusive of actually getting our MMO license, which we got in 2018. It took us close to about that same time to actually create a smart product development strategy, because, we're trying to find the best way to dream big, to work smart, to give our customers the best that we had to offer. And, as a startup, the next 6 months, we toiled in a vacuum. We were experiencing what I'll call failure, heartache. A lot of our customers felt that we had left them in the dark, and we launched a less than perfect product to our entire user base. Now, I'm giving you the good, the bad, the interesting, the success story, our learning curves. I'm not just going to sugarcoat it and make it seem like it was all rosy from the beginning. So finally, we learned to make big plans. And, while still continuously providing small iterations, we discovered how to develop these great products. From our tech team structure to built-in experiments, just trying to figure out the ropes and also learn what actually works for us. And this approach, has dramatically improved our products. It has increased our customer base largely. I mean, we're up to about 20K consumers, 15K agents, and it's still improving it. So we feel like we are building our products in partnership with our customers, and which is like the perfect approach for us. Now, why did it take us so long to actually formalize our approach? Like every startup, we had few hands on deck, and we were spending so much time trying to do every other thing aside from our jobs. At one point, I would say some members of my team, we answered help desk tickets, from morning to night, while a few employees in the product team and the offshore dev team designed and built the products. We ran the marketing, sales. It seems like we had what I would call the hero syndrome. We wanted to do everything, but that was, thankfully, was short-lived because we ended up just getting burnt out and probably not doing things the right way. Finally, we have hired a full team of, support and other cross-functional staff, to share this workload with. And we have continued to grow. And we also found more smart people to actually lead key functions. So that has helped the team greatly. Now, to cap it all up, I'm going to say that product management is pretty interesting. And if it's a career path that you want to take on, please, by all means, delve into it. It's quite interesting, challenging, and it's fun. So I have fun at my job whilst doing it. So anyone who is interested in going in this path, this is like, if this is your first step, you haven't done the wrong thing. This is one of the right things. This is one of the things that you should do to actually figure out whether or not it's the right path for you. And so that I don't take so much of our time, because I'm actually looking at my time slot, I'm going to ask us to please download our app. It's called the Now app. We have a consumer app. We also have, an agency banking app. It's available on both iOS and Android. And it's quite easy to navigate, user-friendly and seamless. You can use it to send and receive money via different channels from your friends and family. You are rewarded for every transaction that you perform on this app. You can pay your bills. You can recharge airtime. And you also have an access to suite of our lifestyle products because, we recently made the consumer app lifestyle based. So you can enjoy features like gaming, which is free. You can buy insurance. We have a new product called the COVID-19 insurance coming out. You can fund your betting wallets. You can gain access to micro loans. And, telemedicine services are available on the app, entertainment, and so much more. Our agents offer cash in and cash out services at, in your neighborhood. We have over 15,000 agents spread nationwide. And hi, Toby.
Wow, Ada. Wow, that's a lot of experience.
And answering them. Hi.
All right, cool. Thank you so much, Ada. Thank you for sharing your story with us. I believe, we've learned one or two things from what you've shared, from your system specs journey down to now. And thank you for just being very real with us. Like, we wear so many hats, Yeah, so thank you. So we move on to the next person, which is Emeka. Emeka is the head of operations and also a product manager at Retailer Technologies. So Emeka, please can you introduce yourself, tell us about your journey. Every journey is actually unique. So tell us about your journey. What are those things that have stood out for you? And then if there is one thing you want somebody to take away today from today's session for product managers or aspiring product managers, what would that thing be? So over to you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, and happy World Product Day. Feel so honored to be here. Yeah, so my time starts now. Okay, so starting from talking about my product journey, started around 2012 when I was still in school. I was in second year in school then, because I had computer science in school. So I watched a movie then called The Rise of Apple. It was a Steve Jobs movie. So yeah, I used to watch Steve Jobs on how we used to tinker with ideas and so I told myself that, shit, I can build products. So I met with one of my geek friends. He's on this called Solomon Marvelous, right? We were programming together while in school. And I said, let's build something for for students. And we came up with a product then in school. 2012, it's young teenagers then. Came up with a solution called Ping Extra. So it was a social network for the students to connect with themselves, to share assignments, and do all that stuff, share photos and pictures. It was created with Create Social. I can remember 2012 very clearly. So we used them a template, we tweaked the back end, and fast forward to 2013, the product died, no validation. I remember Marvelous telling me, my co-founder telling me then that all startups don't last more than 2 years. Like, that was a very big word for me because I thought it was all about building. Yeah, we went back to hiding, honed our skills. Fast forward to 2017, I went for a competition organized by CC Hub and Facebook. So it was a health hackathon. So you had health practitioners from all over cities in Africa coming to converge to build a health solution that would disrupt the health sector. So yeah, fast forward to 2017, in the team I had the likes of Donaldo Kutu, Padianigbo on the hackathon team, and Dr. Dedu, one babe like that from Hungary. So we came together and built a solution called Swift EK, right? So Swift EK was like an Uber for health platform. So it means you could book for health services, ambulance services from the comfort of your home, right? Funny enough, we won the hackathon, but there was when I learned product itself, because there was a design team. I was working with health practitioners, so who did user research and other stuff. Yeah, the product died, no finance to capital to push the product, and man must move on, And fast forward to 2018, I was called by Salami Abolore, my boss. He told me, Meka, come, let's build the next retail solution for Africa. And I'm like, in my head, retail solution. So it was telling me, it's going to be like Jumia. And I'm like, okay, I have not worked in the e-commerce space before, but let me give it a shot, right? So we came around, worked with industry experts from the retail space, and we built retailer. So in case nobody, I don't think anybody has ever heard about retailer. So retailer is like an e-commerce platform for informal retailers that connects retailers to product manufacturers. So it means on our network, we have a large network of product manufacturers like Nestle, Unilever, Suntory, all kind of FMCG products you can ever think of. We have it on the platform, right? So presently we have close to 10K users who are using the product, which is a very good one for us, looking at the fact that we are not up to 2 years in the market. We have an engineering team, a very lean engineering team, some of the baddest guys I've ever met in my life, right? Most awesome human beings who are helping ease our life at retailer, and also building these solutions for the retailers themselves, because retail is hard. If you ever worked in the retail space, you know that retail is hard, because these people are not used to like your modern technologies, right? They don't care about their assets to sell. They're market women. They just want to sell and get their money sharp. They don't have time to waste, So one of my highest points at retailer has been when we were featured on Alibaba Global Initiatives. That was during the first week of COVID-19 in Nigeria. In Nigeria, right? So we're listed as one of those companies using technologies to solve inclusion, right? By providing merchants and consumers with access to product access. That was a very high point for me, because then we're having large numbers of orders like that, and I'll just be sitting at home and I'll be seeing, because I do get notifications on Anytime a merchant is another, and anytime another is completed by the driver, I just be like, man, this big guy is chilling, you know. So that was a very high point for me, you know, and I would never trade that for anything because that's the joy of a product manager, seeing his product being used by people, right? And I've made mistakes. I won't lie. I've made big mistakes, right? So one of those mistakes I made was I was thinking technology can solve everything in this life because I come from a technical background. So I used to be a software engineer. So I used to think writing the code, you know, tell the guys, let's do this thing. But retail will teach you a very hard lesson, a very, very hard lesson, I must say, because you tend to understand that technology can't solve everything. It's processes that solve uh, problems, right? It's processes, it's culture and processes that solve problems, right? So yeah, I've made those mistakes, but I've learned because retail will teach you a hard lesson. If you play in the retail space, you will learn the hard way. So yeah, we're building for retailers now. So we know that, okay, these guys are not tech savvy, so we have to build things that they really need. So take, for instance, they like to call. We have a feature on our system that these people can use to call, and the orders has been delivered to them. Take, for instance, there's a USSD channel which they can use to order, dial the code, and boom, their product is being delivered to them. So yeah, and my learning curve, yeah. So learning curve has been smooth sail, I must say, because I've been lucky to have, like I said, some of the smartest people around me in terms of my bosses and in terms of the product management community we have in Africa. So you have Product Manager Africa, Product Dive, likes of Toby, who we run to for help when the chips are down. So we want to design product management issues, talk to these people, and it has been a very nice learning curve. Yeah, and my final words would be the law for tiny margins, right? So product management is internal. It's not doesn't have an end. You keep building, keep building, keep building, keep building. It's one step at a time, day by day. I call it the law of tiny margins, right? 1% daily. You learn 1% daily, and by and by, you get clarity. You know, so yeah. I think my time has elapsed, right? So thank you guys. Yeah, thank you guys.
Please, can we snap for Emeka? Just snap, 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 snap. Yay, awesome. Thank you, Emeka, for sharing your story with us. I also really resonate with most of the things you talked about, processes, culture. Me personally, I'm a believer of, most of the times, most of the reasons why product managers have issues at work is because they've actually not set like the right processes, or the organizations have not set the right processes. And that's why you see most of the time product managers are really struggling, really struggling to be that voice. So thank you for talking about that. And also thank you for talking about the learning. We are lifelong learners. Thank you. All right, so we'll move on to, I can hear some background
200 for 2 years.
Punta, please, can you help us mute everyone?
Yeah, I'll do that now.
I think from Isaac.
Yeah, I've muted Isaac. I think it's coming from Isaac. So I've done that.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So, Adetolani Eko, the co-founder Vibe Tech. So please, can you share your story with us as a product manager, and what is that one thing? Because I know we usually say so many things. What is that one thing you want somebody to take out from here today, that would help improve on their product management journey? So let's welcome Adetolani.
Hello guys, my name is Adetolani Eko actually. I'm a product manager, and I'm the co-founder of Vibe. So basically Vibe is a dating app. It's designed to help Africans connect online and offline in fun and secure ways. Before I got into products, I was a software engineer. At some point I was a visual artist, graphic designer, and I used to do a lot of all those things. Getting into products, first of all, I didn't even know what product management was. Like, I didn't know the actual word for it. I was a software engineer, as I said, a pretty good one at that. And then I found myself always wanting to contribute more into the product development lifecycle. So I didn't like the fact that someone would just be like, okay, so we've done all the work and then you just have to build this app. And like, that's where your role ends. And the only time they really ask for your contribution is when they probably say, oh, we're having this bug, or what do you think is the best architecture to use for this? And I didn't really like that. So it was pretty funny at the time when I was working as a freelance software engineer, where clients would be like, oh, I need you to build this thing. And then I'll be like, oh, why are you building it this way? What is your revenue model? And imagine like going to meet some freelance software developer somewhere and he's arguing with you about your business model, about your customer acquisition strategy. And it was really funny. I lost a lot of clients anyway, but I understood where I wanted to go. So I just want to share my screen. I just put like together a couple of stuff. I don't know if you guys can see my screen.
Not yet. Not yet. Please share your screen.
Share your screen.
Okay, sorry. I think you have to enable me.
Permit. Okay.
Just a moment, then let me check this out.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, Vibe is a dating app. We are designed to help Africans connect. We launched our beta app sometime in April last year, and the journey has been a really different one because like most of my work has really been in payments, and like that has like it has been a different experience from what I currently do. Okay, so can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So these are some of the companies I've worked with like over the past years of my product career. Yeah. Okay, so my journey into products, I already spoke about that a bit. So one thing I did mention was that, so before I got into products fully, like had a job that was like, oh, I was a product manager. I just wanted to get into the space by any way possible. And what I'll do is that I'll do like pro bono projects. I'll do free work for people, and I'll write reviews. I will just do anything just to get into that space. And I think that really helped me build a lot of experience before I went for my first product interview and I got the job, even though I was the only person that had no product experience there. Okay, so yeah, this is about Vibe. So one of the reasons why we built Vibe, which is the dating platform I founded with my partners, is that we realized that there was nothing that really catered to the African market in terms of online dating, romance, social aspect of life. And currently in the world, like the top 10, 11 dating platforms in the world, Africans only have access to less than 40% of that. And this is a field where Africans spend about $190 million every year. And so we realized that this market is being underserved, and we went out to solve that problem. So for Vibe, we hit 10,000 users so far. We were finalists at Y Combinator Winter 2020 batch. We didn't get in, but it was a wonderful experience getting to the finals out of like so many companies all over the world. So that was big for us. So one of the unique things about Vibe is that we try to do the online and offline aspects, because we noticed that in the African market, online is not enough for us to connect, because there's a big issue with like scams, impersonation, and so many things. So we don't really trust that, oh, okay, I'm speaking with John online and it's not Jessica offline, or the other way around. So one of the things we factor in the security, we actually leverage on the combination of artificial intelligence algorithms, routine checks, some other processes just to make sure that everybody there's like who they say they are. Another thing that we do is that we do offline events. So we know that online can never fully work in Nigeria. You sort of have to have that offline aspect. So we have games nights, all the sessions where we bring people together, speed dating events. We had this awesome one sometime November last year. So we brought people together, you go on a date for 7 minutes. And then when we like ring the bell, you move on to the next date for the day. And it was pretty awesome. It helped us learn so much about Africans with respect to social interaction and media generally that we did not know before, things that were not previously documented. So that really did a lot for us there. Okay, so yeah, Vibe is available on the Play Store and App Store. You can get it there. Another thing that we do is that, so because we're designed for the African market, we try to support African languages in terms of, right now we have support for just English and French. French because that's the second most popular language in Africa. And we're trying to roll out a Pidgin version, a Yoruba version, Hausa version that's coming out sometime soon. And the reason why we do this still goes down to the bedrock of product management and understanding who your customers are. We know that there are people in the US doing dating, Tinder, Match.com, and others, but their market is different from how Africans like to find love online, how they like to make connections. So that's why we decided, oh, what are the things that we're going to use, put in this app that are going to make it easier for Africans to connect. So yeah, these are like the top 5 tips I've learned over time. One is that for people who want to transition into product, for example, you're a software engineer, business analyst, something else, I feel like you should try to get as much work as possible. There was a time where I was practically spending my own money to do product work for others. And in the end, it helped me out because I was able to get a lot of projects under my portfolio, and I was able to learn a lot, like over a short period of time, as opposed to waiting for somebody to say, oh, come and take this product job, or just doing a course online. I feel like even if you do the course, you need to put that practical aspect into it. The second thing is understand the basics of what your product does and the problem that it solves. So I noticed that a lot of people, if you ask them to describe their app, you say, oh, I'm a payment app that allows people pay using Bitcoin. I don't think a lot of people understand the detail of what they do. And understanding the basic, for example, you say, oh, I'm a medium for people to exchange service for value. It's still what payments is, but understanding that basic helps you know what the next level is for you. The third thing, understand who you're building for and always speak with them from time to time. I think a lot of people are more like they are tied into the general idea of, oh, I'm going to send out surveys, do customer interviews, bring people to my house, give them small jobs, bring them to the office. It's not always as complex as that. For Vibe, a lot of people, I hope like I don't cast myself, but a lot of women I chat with on Vibe, they don't know I'm the co-founder or anything. But I use that to get like valid feedback from them about what we should be doing on the app and issues that they have. So sometimes it's not as complex as people think. When I was in financial inclusion, I would go to an agent location and I'll just be like, oh, this Pokemon is not even good. I'd be like, ah, no, bros, did they try you? And that really helped me learn a lot without having to do the whole survey issue and things like that. Fourth one, let me just rush it. Things don't always go by the book. So we do a lot of product management courses online and so many places. And yeah, those things give you the lay of the land that you need to just understand, but it never always works like that. It's just like you have to be able to adapt and innovate as you go on in your product development life cycle. Last thing, relax. We all don't have it under control. So I think this is a big issue. Like sometimes I write my articles on Medium and people are like, oh, guy, you're so great. And I think you're doing a great job. But things were messed up like for most of the time I was doing the project. And I think that's like a big issue for new product managers. They feel like, oh, Emeka is a big guy, Toby is a big guy, and they always have things under control. But it's not always like that. There are things that will just happen, but you just have to keep everything together. So that is my time for now. Let me just end here. Thank you very much.
Wow, that was an interesting one. Thank you so much, Adetolani. Wow, Vibe. So many people here are going to subscribe to Vibe. I'm sure. Secrets. You don't let us know, right? Anyways, please reach out to Adetolani. I think they have their app in the Play Store as well. So if you're interested in speed dating, yeah, so Vibe is the place for you. And if you also want like more information about this journey, you can always reach out to him. So thank you so much, Adetolani Eko, once again. So we have quality assurance. They're always very special to our app, because if you release a bug, you go here. So with that, I will be welcoming Bankole Kolapo, who is a software QA at Softcom. Please, can we welcome him? He'll be telling us about his experience working with product managers and even how he goes about is accepting and validating stories, user stories, and testing them to ensure there are no bugs. Okay, over to you, Bankole.
It's not begin.
All right. Hi guys. Good evening. My name is Kolapo. I am from Lagos, Nigeria, and I work with Softcom Limited here in Lagos. All right. So as a QA person, right? We work in product teams, and I would say for me, we basically work a lot with product managers in the sense of, how we work together in team dynamics. So you have a situation where a product manager, is coming up with features and prioritizing these features, but you as a tester, you have to come in as someone who's analytical about the whole situation. You're going through everything and thinking of what could go wrong, right? So in terms of my experience as a QA person, I would say like we're one of the best friends that product managers have. So I'll be sharing my screen now to just, can I share my screen?
Yes, please.
Just a moment. I'll enable that now so you can share your screen.
Okay, all right, awesome. Thank you. All right, so I'll just be talking about like the typical life of a QA, what I do on a day-to-day basis. And majority of what we do as testers is, to ensure quality in the products, right? A lot of people imagine that, okay, it's a QA's job, to ensure quality in the product, right? And this idea is usually that at the end of, the development process, after the developers are done, that's when the QA comes in. But most times we realize that it's more cost efficient and it's a lot of effortless in terms of if those features are done right from the beginning. So if you did the QA from when you were gathering requirements and a lot of things that have been pointed out and ironed out as at that point. So it's always good practice to start QA from the beginning of the project. So I'll be going through like the life cycle, of what I do in QA. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
All right. All right. So I'll just be going through like typical things I do, as a QA. So the first thing is I design tests, and this includes, going through requirements, going through different screens, checking with various customers of the product about the different features that you're developing, and, trying to look at the product from both the customer's eye and also from a system point of view, right? I say this emphatically because a lot of people seem to, always say that, okay, always focus on what the customer is doing. Why? That is like paramount. Customer is king. But one thing that happens is if you design your test in a way, the customer would, in a way that appeals to the customer, right? But then you don't design your test in a way that it allows the system to be able to integrate with other systems or for it to be operated efficiently. When you need to expand that system, right? You realize that a lot of projects that you do along the way, during the whole development cycle, you've done maybe the first version, second version, you realize that design your test only for the you would run into problems where by the time someone else is taking over that project or you get to a version, you would want to rewrite what you currently have. So it's always good to have, that balanced perspective. So what I do is I design tests, and after designing the tests, I execute. And a very important part for product managers is reporting. And this reporting is, giving feedback to the product managers and the stakeholders as to, what kind of tests you did and how the tests fared. Was it a good experience? Are there recommendations that you have, after tests and all that? So this usually happens during the life cycle, and then you also need to analyze as well. So after you're done with reporting, right, you don't edit there. When customers are using it, there are tools that allow you to, gather users' feedback, and then from there you'll be able to, sort of analyze how users are, using your product and how they are interacting with it. All right, so in terms of like a QA's role in product management, QA comes in heavily in requirement analysis in terms of, helping the product managers to look at the technical side of things and also look at the customer side of things, right? You're looking at different factors and you're trying to, make the requirements as solid enough and as clear as possible for the product managers. And also test planning, you're trying to plan the test in a way that you'll be able to give feedback early enough for you to be able to make changes at the very early stages of developments. So the next thing is understanding demographics, devices, platforms, and environments. So in terms of what we QAs do, we sort of do a lot of research into like, okay, what are the things that are currently going on in this demographic? What are other people doing? And then we can sort of benchmark, the performance and, how well the product is doing as against these things. And also we give a lot of feedback, right? Feedback is very important to product development. So feedback is something that QAs do. All right, so only if my product manager would know this, ever. So product managers, in my opinion, should speak and act with trust, right? So you've had cases where a lot of teams don't really work together because they don't feel like the product manager is just, giving them the right sort of support. So they just think the product manager is, with some other stakeholders, and then there's a lot of friction within the team. So once product managers speak and act with trust, I know that it's going to, help the team work better. And then technical documentation, while it should not be forced, it should also be a very part of, the deliverables for every software project. So when you have the technical documentation, it makes it easy to, onboard new members into the team. It makes it easier for, people to look into what's actually happening in the system, and also, the work of, we QAs very, very fast and efficient when everybody's on the same page. And then you also encourage communication within the team, right? Not everybody should, have to come through you to talk to another person on the team, right? Always make sure that you encourage communication within, the product team, and you'll be able to achieve a lot. So just to spend the last couple of minutes to talk about Softcom. So I work with Softcom Limited, and we're majorly in identity, learning, payments, and data. So all our solutions are in these 4 key areas. So for me, I work on AOO, which is a payment platform. And this is what AOO is. AOO is simply a bank on your phone number, right? One of the beautiful things that when I tell people about, these products that we built like over like the last couple of years is the ability for me to be able to send someone that I don't know money on their phone numbers, right? So we're trying to solve for inclusion in the way that not everybody has a bank account number, right? But almost every Nigerian, I won't say all, but almost let me say a higher percentage of Nigerians have phone numbers rather than bank accounts, right? So how would these people, be able to play in the financial field if they don't have the basic requirements to be able to play? So that's why we said, okay, let's give them the ability to be able to bank on their phone number. And that's basically what AOO is, right? A lot of features have been, layered upon it, make the experience better and sort of include everybody, right? So it's not only the financially included. So everybody, we're trying to make people included, right? So the inclusiveness for, the working class people is, to be able to use AOO to make payments for services, connecting you to make payments to merchants, and different things like that. So that's basically what AOO is. And we've been able to, grow AOO into like an ecosystem where you have the retail where you can use AOO to make payments on, is a product I can use to make payments to merchants. So merchants are onboarded and then they can be able to, make payments as well. And then we also have for people that are running businesses, right? We want to make them connected to, their vendors and all the other people that they, do business with, right? So this AOO office meets that need, all right? The products that inclusion.
Wow. Thank you, Kolapo. We ran out of time. Wow. It's so amazing to see that these beautiful products were actually built from Africa. Yes. Now, retailer, vibe, Eyawo, pass ID, no product managers. Please, we deserve a round of applause. Like it's not easy. Please, can you snap? Snap now. Should be proud of yourself. Today is for celebration. It's only once in a year. And the great thing is that it clashes with Children's Day. So you can see we are special when product day, you know. All right. So thank you so much to our speakers. So one last thing before I pass the mic over to Isaac, who is my co-moderator, is to it's a gift from Product Dive. Yeah, you got that. It's a gift from Product Dive. I'm the founder of Product Dive, and we are giving a 35% discount to you right here. So I would post the link here. And yeah, so over to you, Isaac. Thank you, guys. Post the link down.
Thank you so much, Toby. And such a very great gesture from Product Dive to all the members of Product Manager Africa. Don't forget to visit pmafrica.co/register for you to have access to the promo from Product Dive. So now we are moving up. We've heard a lot of product managers speak. We've heard a QA engineer talk to us about their their roles in delivering successful products. There's a set of guys. We always see them as funky set of human beings. And we have with me this evening, we have Ayobami. She's a product designer, and she will share a little bit about what product designers do and their major roles in developing a successful product. Welcome on board, Ayobami.
Hi, Isaac. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you, Ayobami. Welcome.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Sure. I would like to share my screen. So basically, this evening I will just be briefly talking you through how I started in product design, my journey so far, what I typically do as a product designer, and just about three products I've worked on, and just a closing remark. So let me just quickly share my screen. Just a minute. Okay, so I was sharing my screen. Okay. Yeah, so can you see my screen now?
Oh, yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. What am I working on? Okay, sure. Yeah. So while that goes on, so I will just start with how I started in product design. So I will just run through it. I'll just speak through it because I think I have to close Zoom for me to share my screen. So I'll just run through what I have to say. I think sometime in 2016, I was just reading an article and I stumbled upon a profession called UX design. And I got really interested because then one of the compliments I had in my where I was working was that, oh, you have a great eye for design. You need to improve on the skill. And I'm like, what else can I do aside design PowerPoint, which was what I was doing then. So I stumbled upon UX design. I started reading up on it, and I got really interested, and I started taking courses, and it was something I was so interested in it. I went to my boss and I told him that, you know what, see, I think I want to move into UX design. How can the organization help me, right? So I was posted to the technology arm then, and back then I was just doing research, like product research, researching on products and all. But I wasn't feeling fulfilled because I needed to, and I wanted to experience the entire spectrum of UX design. You understand? I wanted to be able to not only research, I wanted to design, I wanted to test, I wanted to do lots of things. So I resigned from my job then, and I applied for an unpaid internship somewhere. Luckily, I got in, and that was how my career in product design started. Once again, my name is Ayobami. I'm a product designer with Descasio. Descasio is a cloud computing company, and I work from Lagos, Nigeria. So, as a product designer, one of the, I feel like I'm like, I have several personalities because sometimes I have to be a UX researcher. Sometimes I have to remove the hat of a UX researcher and then move into the role of an interaction designer, or move into a UX designer, all of these roles together. But at the point of, at the core of what I do is, the need to solve a problem. You understand? I'm trying to create a product that actually solves a particular need, be it organizational need or an individual need. And that's what I basically do as a product designer. So right now I'll be describing like things I do in the office. So if you come to my office, you'll practically catch me. So designer, you need to be able to research into your users, research your users, research into the problem, really dig deep into the problem you're trying to solve. Of recent, since I joined my recent company, I've been doing like less of research because I have a really good and competent product manager. Can you guys hear me? I just really.
Yeah, we
Yes,
can
I
hear
can
you.
hear you.
Yes, we can. We can.
So okay, yeah. So right now I do less of research work because I have, as I said, I have a competent product manager. So she does a whole lot of the research work. I contribute and also do my own personal research as well. But I mean, for extra gig, I have to carry on the entire research work myself, and it's an interesting process. Research is one of the most important things, to be honest, in the product design process. So as a designer, that's one key thing you need to learn. You don't jump into UIs and then say, I'm a UX designer. No, you have to learn research. Absolutely research. And some of the deliverables during research includes like my personas. You have your use cases there, your customer journey, your user flows, and a whole lot of other activities involved. Then after research, the next thing is design. So with my design, at that point in time, I'm coming up with things like information architecture. So from information architecture, I then jump into things like my sketches. For me, sketches are like really, really, really important. Like sometimes I sometimes I might not work on wireframes, but my sketch, my pencil and my paper, no way, we are friends. So I do a lot of sketches, almost every single screen, I sketch them out. And based on time constraint, I then move into mock-ups. If I have a lot of time with me on ground, I would work on wireframes. If I don't have, I would just jump into mock-ups. So with my mock-up, I'm trying to design the first draft, just come up with basic screens based on our requirements, based on the requirement that has been defined at the beginning of the project. So once I'm done with that, with the mock-ups, I always share with my product manager, I always share with the engineering team, because it's a collaborative process. So you need to also present to them what you have so that we can fine tune, so that we can discuss, okay, is this possible? Is this needed? The engineers can come in and say, what, this might not be possible this way because of performance issues and all of that. So we have all these conversations. And after that, once we have our first draft of design, then we then move into testing. One of the most important things something that is really important, which a lot of people also ignore, is to test before development. Because if you test before development, you have making changes is not costly. At that point in time, you can quickly make changes to design. But by the time you move into development, and then you're now realizing that things are not working well and all, it's more difficult to make changes at that point in time. In fact, the engineers will be really reluctant. Even as a designer, you're just reluctant to make all those changes. So for me, it's important that you test before engineering. And then, as one of the speakers said, when you're saying testing, some people think it's a big thing where you have to set up, a set up a laboratory, not that deep. Sometimes it's not that deep, you understand? And budget for testing. So you have to test you have to look for unique and creative ways to actually test. So testing can involve, just calling your friend, that fits, that is similar to the persona you're designing for. You just call them, hey, babe, yeah, please, I need to test this thing. Can you come to my place? Let's work on this together. Or your fellow colleagues at work, you understand? So it's not really we shouldn't think about it as one, grand event. This is not good. I think this can be done better. Oh yeah, this is great. And one of the things you then do is that. So from this feedback, you and the product, what do you think we should do? Should we proceed with, or do you think we should place it in our ice box? Do you think it's something we can visit later? And then you have all this conversation, and then you come down to a final, hello? Can you hear me?
Thank you. Yeah, we can hear you.
The final, okay. So you come back to your final requirement, and after that, then as a designer, you go back to the drawing board. So you need to start making changes based on feedback that you have gotten so far. And the next thing is, after feedback, after you've implemented the feedback, then development. Development is one of the most interesting phases because you are practically fighting with your developers and engineers. No, this thing is not like this. This design is this color. No, this is FA, and this is FF. No, the button is 2 pixels away from the right position. That drama can be really exhausting sometimes. But it's also interesting because sometimes you also get to hear from their perspective why they get to take some decisions and all of that. And it's really an interesting one. Sometimes you have to then, you call the product manager. The product manager has to intervene and say, you know what? No, we're doing it this way. You're doing it that way. And sometimes it's also not their fault because developers don't, most of them don't have eye for designs. I'm sorry to say, I apologize. So they don't know the difference between certain things. They don't know the difference between
and
that's it. So after development.
Hello, Ayobani.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We actually running out of time, so we think if you can quickly round up in 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. So after development, I just move on so we launch, and then you also have to continually test your products as well. You need to measure the performance. And I have some products I've worked on. I've worked on a HR platform called TAMS. It's a platform that was designed for majorly Nigerian market. Worked on also mesh data analytics too. On a closing remark, I will just say this. As a designer trying to launch into design, one of the most important things you need to do is to invest in yourself, take courses, network with fellow designers. And that's one of the best ways to grow, And as for business owners, for CEOs, please stop being stingy with your product. If you need to hire a good designer, please hire one. You understand? Hire a good one, and trust me, you will not regret it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ayobami. Thank you so very much. We strongly appreciate that. Yeah. So you've mentioned a whole lot of things that's really touching, and I hope the engineers will not come after you when you leave this.
That's why I apologized. I'm sorry.
But that's good. I think you're still better friends with engineers than product managers most of the time. So I'd like to have Elijah Kingston come join us. He's also a product designer from Zone Tech Park. Elijah, are you here?
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Good evening, Isaac.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, so we'd like to quickly have a brief intro of you and tell us how your journey has been on, how you've been changing the world, one pixel at a time.
All right, so my name is Elijah. I currently work as a product designer at Workforce Group, where we build recruitment and people management software for a couple of Nigerian banks, FMCG companies,
oil and gas companies and the likes. So what we essentially do at Workforce is we work with these companies to determine what their hiring needs are for specific roles. And then we help them find talent to fill those roles that they're hiring for. And then everything from the recruitment process, onboarding those employees when they get hired, and then bringing them join the team, and then doing things like appraisal, leave requests and stuff like that. So we're building an entire suite of HR-centric solutions. So to backtrack to how I got into design and how I got into building products. So for as long as I can remember, I've been like interested in computers, and then I developed a curiosity for like websites and web designs. So I discovered this site Awards when I was doing my internship at PZ Cousins, and I just started to marvel at the interactions, the visual effects that I was seeing on some of the websites that were featured by Awards. And that was how I decided that I wanted to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I picked up like web development and did that for a while. I joined a startup in Lagos called eLearn. So eLearn was building edtech solutions for people who were interested in learning vocational skills like baking and making clothes, making wigs and stuff like that. So we're taking all of that like vocational skills training online for people who were interested in learning those skills. So from Workforce, I moved to from eLearn, I moved to work with Fishbite. Fishbite was a digital agency where I got to work on like a wide array of projects, similar to the work I did at Intelia, a software development company here in Nigeria, where I was like working on a number of client projects for the company. So I think coming from like a software development or web development background, I started to understand like that there was more to the process than just writing code, right? Things around understanding the users that you're designing for, and then combining the knowledge of what the users need are, what their pain points, interests, and context is with what the business is trying to achieve. So we hear a lot of talk about designing for users, trying to understand what user needs are. But I have come to learn that there has to be a balance between what the users want, what the users need, and what the business is trying to accomplish. So I think the role of a product designer is just essentially trying to merge those two concerns and advocate for the users on one hand, but then also keep in mind what some of the constraints of the business are, so that you are suggesting or recommending ideas that take those two factors into account. So I'm just going to share like a few tips for people who are like product generalists, product managers, product designers. I was talking to a product director at a financial technology solution in the UK. And then these were like a few takeaways from the conversation I had with him. So the first thing is that as a product person, you need to be user-oriented. What that means is that you need to advocate for, you need to think about the problem of the person that you are creating for. And then you need to advocate for that person or that group of people during the process. So there's a lot of, we're all familiar with this sort of phenomenon where a product owner comes and they tell you that they have a fancy idea of how they want a particular feature to be. They tell you that, oh, they want this and they want that. And we can go on building products off of the whim of people, but I feel like we need to also think about people that we're building for at every step of the journey. And then not just thinking about them, but trying to understand them and then using data from our interaction with these people to shape the decisions that we're making as product people. So you need to, at every point in time, be able to draw a straight line from the feature that you're trying to build and data that actually shows that this is the right direction that the product should be going in. So that's the first one. The second one is that you need to go in depth and demonstrate a deep understanding of the problem. So many times, right, you hear a brief or you see a brief and you want to jump into developing, you want to jump into like designing, as a designer. It's sort of something that we've learned over time. Once we have the first kickoff meeting, the next thing is to start sketching screens and doing wireframes and high fidelity prototypes. But I think that everybody must try to spend enough time understanding the problem that they are trying to solve. Underneath what you think might be the challenge or the pain point of the user, there's a root problem that you need to uncover through research and other methods. So spending some more time on the problem is going to help you develop a more meaningful solution, because if you don't know what the real issue is, the ideas that you generate might just address symptoms rather than the root cause of what the users are experiencing.
Awesome.
So the last thing is to be aware of constraints and be aware of stakeholders. So I've combined like those two things. So what are the constraints, right? When you're thinking of solutions as a designer, it's something I've had to teach myself over the past couple of years. I need to be aware of why this idea may not be the best idea, why this idea may not work. What are the things that need to happen for this idea to succeed? And what are the things that already exist that might prevent this idea from flying? So as a designer, you don't wait till you get to the meeting before you hear the product manager, the product owner telling you, or the developer even telling you why your idea is not feasible. You need to develop the ability to think about the constraints ahead of time so that you are prepared to address them, or maybe you can then change the direction of your ideation before time. And then the final is, again, the final one, which is also part of it, is to be aware of stakeholders. So you need to understand the people that you are working with. You need to be able to communicate in a language that they understand. This is the last example that I'm going to give before I close the curtain. So I was working on a product, and I work in a very traditional company. I hope nobody from Workforce is here. But when you talk about research and talk about following the right process for product design, there's a lot of pushback because time is like a significant constraint. So instead of going to a stakeholder to tell them that you want to do research, you can just take initiative and do like the smallest possible form of research, like surveys and interviews. And then instead of telling them and waiting for permission, use like the time that you have available to you to take the initiative and do that thing, and then present that data and just talk with the data and use that to inform your decision making, so that you are not spending more time debating about whether you should do this or do that. So on and so forth.
Thank you so very much, Emeka.
Yeah.
It's been so exciting about talking about how you carry your stakeholders along in your designs and some basic some initiatives that is expected of a product designer without waiting on people. It's so very interesting. We appreciate you for joining us in this evening's event, and thank you so very much for your contribution.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Do you have any final word you want to give us, or?
Yeah. So I feel like I already sort of said it, but just to recap, you need to demonstrate an understanding of the user, be aware of the constraints, and then also think deeper to uncover the root problem, and then finally be aware of the stakeholders, conscious of what they are.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate it for coming around. Thank you so very much. So we are moving up next to Mr. Richard Rosa. Richard Rosa is the head of product designs with DMM Hehe Limited. And guess where that is? That's in Rwanda. So welcome on board, Richard Rosa.
Thank you, sir. Hi, guys. Richard here, representing East Africa. I heard a lot of West Africans, and it's good to connect with fellow designers and product managers and startup founders and CEOs. A lot has been said, so I'll try to share a little bit about my experience, and then tell you a lot more about what we're also doing as DMM here. Yeah, my background, I'm a trained computer scientist. Computer scientist by accident, I would say why. I'm from an artistic background. I grew up drawing, but eventually ended up in computer science, a field I wasn't necessarily passionate about because I saw myself creating architecture and design fields were more appealing to me. But eventually, in the process of trying to figure out how computer science connected with my passion, I got involved with Google during my university times, and their programs in sub-Saharan Africa kind of get you psyched up, and their brand is really out there. You see a lot of great products showcased to you, and great products that you get to learn about and share with others. Given the nature of the events we were involved in as Google ambassadors in our universities, one of the things that quickly caught my eye was just the awesome things they were creating, but also their experience was very colorful. And the more I tried to learn about them, I fell in love with designing of software products. So user UX, UI kind of appealed to me right away, and I started doing a lot of research. In the process, I joined the startup with a co-founder, and we needed a designer from the get-go. But then I was mostly doing graphic work and trying to learn about user experience and UI design. And from there on, I was also playing a lot of creative director kind of role within the company. So a mix of branding, but also trying to create the next product that we would put out there. Those were the early days of my life as a product designer. One thing led to another. Before short, I was already the UI UX designer within the company, and went on to become the product design lead, and currently the head of product design, working with a number of people, and that's the beauty of my job today. Is I feel like I'm a lot more hands-off, and I now get to see the beauty in other people's work and collaborate with quite a number of people. My team is composed of a lot of UI UX designers, user researchers, QAs. I heard a quality assurance person, and we work a lot with the dev team, but also the commercial team.
Oh, great.
I think we lost Richard.
Yeah, lost some signal.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Okay, so while we wait, hopefully we get him back. We might just want to quickly talk. Funta, do you want to tell us a little bit about Product Manager Africa while we wait if we can get him back?
Okay, yay. All right, so for those that just joined, I'm Funta Akibisehin, the founder of Product Manager Africa, the community of product managers. We're trying to build a network of product managers in Africa, really, and of Africans also in other parts of the world. I'm happy to say that we've been on since 2016. So it's been going gradually, but we're getting there. I have a very supportive team. So we have a community of product designers, engineers, product managers, even aspiring product managers looking to be mentored, to be coached, and to join the wonderful team of product managers. Yeah, 2016. So we organize regularly. We have meetups, virtual meetups because of the COVID-19. We have scheduled, for example, we have one coming up on Saturday, so we'll be sharing the link later. We meet up with product leaders who come and tell us about their product journey. I think Toby has been with us before. She's been on the show before. We've had a couple of people basically who come here to share their journey. Product Manager Africa was a dream that has come to life now. I'm happy that I'm here now. I can see a lot of Africans doing great stuff We're celebrating one another. This is the first time we're participating or partaking in the World Product Day. And I assure you that this is not going to be the last, so we're going to continue to participate. And we're looking for a lot more people to join our community to add context and content and to make it more vibrant. But basically, yeah, that's Product Manager Africa in a nutshell. It's been a roller coaster ride, but so far, this year has proven to be a good one for us. A lot of people are working from home, so they have time to listen to us while we talk about products. They'll be like, you know, there's this thing about product managers. What's the big deal about them? That all they do is they're just on Slack saying how far. We don't do that. We do product strategy, we do product vision. We just don't do how far. You know, I mean, I have product managers here that can attest to that. So, well, thank you all. I'm so happy to see everyone here. I hope everyone is enjoying it so far. So right now, I don't know if he's back. Is he back?
I've not gotten him yet.
Okay, so
maybe we just go straight up.
Yeah, so we're going straight to Alaji. I call him Alaji, but his name is Duno. He's the head of engineer in with eHealth. We worked together when I was in eHealth. One of the few people I really like in eHealth. But yeah, Duno is here. My besto in Kano. Okay, over to you.
How far? Yeah, I know that that's not the only thing we were doing. So we're doing some great work. Can I share my screen really quickly so I can go?
Yeah, I've made you co-host. So share your screen now, please.
Great. I think this is it. Okay. All right. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
yes, I can see you.
We can see it.
Awesome. That's good. So my name is Abubakar Duno. I'm from Guinea. I put Conakry brackets because people ask me which one. So I'm the head of the engineering team at ELF Africa. So basically my team is made up of software engineers, QAs, DevOps engineers, as well as UI UX designers and software architects. So it's a distributed team that's over, let's say right now, about 4 different countries, so with some people in Berlin, some in the UK, some in Nigeria here, and some in Sierra Leone. So I have about 12 years of experience working tech. I started as a web designer, then moved to software, then also did some product owner role a couple of years ago, but then came back to more like the engineering part of it. So if you want to chat sometime, just link up on Twitter. Yeah, and so I work for ELF Africa. So ELF Africa is this organization that basically whose mission is to build, to strengthen health system across Africa by building some really data-driven solutions. So we basically contributed to the fighting the Ebola outbreak in Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Liberia around 2014. We also did some work with some solutions for the polio outbreak in Nigeria, in northern Nigeria here. And we also did some work in other parts of Africa around Chad, Cameroon, Niger, and multiple countries. So the organization was founded around 2009. And currently we have offices in these 4 countries, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Berlin, in the US. We have about 500 plus employees right now. And this is where I met Funto, by the way. So, cool. Great. So obviously we as eHealth, we build a lot of products over the years. So basically we've been around for a bit over 10 years. We build a lot of different products, but I will maybe just go through some of the ones that they're actually the main ones right now. So we have this product called Ether, which is basically a platform that allow organizations to build their own solutions, to build their own products. So basically, if you want to build any solution that would need to share data between different systems, you can take this platform, you can basically go on this platform and build your own app on top of it. So we come up with a series of best practices that you can just use for doing that. Basically, we made a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Then another product that we have that we use a lot, we use that a lot in delivering vaccine to basically like a lot of remote places in northern Nigeria, especially during the polio campaign. It's Lomi suite. It's a suite of logistic management application. So we manage not only the delivery part, basically from a central office to a health last mile facility, but also once the stock get to that point, to the facility, managing the stock inventory. That's what Lomi suite does. Now I'm going to focus a bit more on some of the stuff that we've done for the COVID-19 response. Obviously, we are emergency response organization. We work mainly in public health, and all our solutions are geared toward improving health systems. So we are currently working right now with both the government and some local governments around Nigeria to basically come up with solutions that they will find very useful in the fight against COVID. One of the first one that we worked on, I think this is about a couple of months ago. So we call this a voice response system, VRS. So basically it's an automated voice caller. So what it does is, just a bit of background first. So once the epidemic, the pandemic started, what happened? So you had a lot of people coming back into Nigeria from Europe, from the US, from different places, right? So those people, when they came back into in Nigeria, they have to self-isolate for 14 days. So basically the government, what they did was to come up with people that would just call those travelers every single day for 14 days, ask them how they're feeling. Basically, do they have a headache? Do they have any of the symptoms of COVID? They will keep on doing that for 14 days. So as the number grew, they really could not keep up anymore. It was just too many people to call. And obviously it's expensive to hire people to do that kind of stuff. And we got in touch with them and said, okay, here's a problem they have. And we came up with the solution. Was okay, we can just build a solution that will just call them automated way for 14 days. So you don't have to have any staff. Basically the system will do the calling. And this really saved a lot of money, and then they can direct the resources to some much more useful tasks than just calling people and asking them questions. So that's one. Another product that we work on is basically what we call the COVID-19 contact tracer. So obviously contact tracing is really important in fighting against COVID. Whenever someone is confirmed as a case, what usually happened was that you have health agencies trying to go back now, trying to find out, okay, who did this person contact? Now, who would they in touch with? And so we have this application that just basically allow you to receive notification if any of those people if anyone is actually found to be basically having COVID-19, we can send you notification as a user's application that, okay, you probably were in touch with someone or in contact with someone that had COVID, but that's not been confirmed as a COVID-19 case. So the way it works is that you install on your app, it tracks your location on your phone. So this is really important because obviously as soon as you start talking about contact tracing, people are worried about privacy. It's, oh, I don't want the government to actually be tracking me. So basically the whole tracking is done offline. So this is done on your phone. That data is never shared with anyone. It doesn't go anywhere. So the only time that you probably will have to share it, and that's with your permission, is when you are a confirmed case. Then in that case, they would you would say, okay, you know what, you will let, for example, in our case, it would be the NCDC or any other health agency would say, you can now, you can give us access to that data, the location data on your phone, and then we'll put that on our server. Then we'll send that to anyone using this application. So that information will be received on the phone. Again, the phone is not sending anything. It's only receiving information, and then it will do some kind of cross-referencing to see whether you were in contact with a COVID-19 case or not. It could be like a couple of hours before, it could be a few days earlier. So then once you receive the notification, then it's up to you now. The app will tell you either go for a test or go for self-isolation. So at that moment, you know exactly where you are, what you need to do. It's a lot better than just being around that you have no idea, then probably might end up infecting people around your loved ones. So this product will do that. And the final one that we've been working on this week was, for example, in Kano, so we are based in Nigeria, mostly based in Kano. That's where our head office is. So there's a lot of testing going on right now. So usually when they do the testing, if you ever work in basically with, let's say, health agencies around Nigeria or around anywhere in Africa, most of the thing they do actually is done on paper. It's like they have like a form somewhere they have to fill in the paper and stuff. So that information obviously will have let's say that the information is collected in a health facility somewhere in really far somewhere in Kano. I don't really know the geography that well, but like a really remote area, then that information that you would relay back to the central office in the city of Kano. So usually what happens with some piece of paper, so you need to have someone that will travel from that place to obviously to central office, and then you can have issues with people spelling things incorrectly. How do you read someone writing, and there's no data integrity. So basically what we've done is just to create the offline application. This is really a basic application. It's really, really basic, but it does the job really well. So what it does is that we replicated the World Health Organization case investigation form, they built, which is freely available online. And we basically just digitized that and just came up with an application. And one of the really main features of the app is that basically we identify every single patient or someone that was tested with a barcode. Basically, the barcode is really linked to the sample, because when we actually take the information, we have to take the sample, then go for testing to actually confirm it or not. So usually what you would have in places like this, you would have like, let's say 10 or 20 people with the name Umar, Mohammed, Umar, or Umar, Mohammed. They have the same name. Pretty much everyone has the same names. So how do you identify this one? So to avoid that kind of duplication of data or just mistake, and just to make sure that we have one unique identifier, so we have every sample that leads to a barcode. So once you take in the lab, when the lab technician just doing the test, instead of just going click on COVID-19 cases, then going through the list and finding Umar Mohammed, what he would do, or she would do, is basically click on retrieve sample and just scan the barcode on the sample, and then it would be able to retrieve the person that actually, the right sample linked to that right person. So yeah, and this application work offline. Again, because we work in remote areas, we low data access. So again, obviously we work a lot with product managers. So in EHA, we actually have a product department, we have the engineering department. So I cannot do anything without the product department. They let me know what they need to do, and then we tell them how we can get it done. And I think I hear a lot of people saying that communication is key, and I'll reiterate that again. Communication is really important, because they know really what the customer, what the end user need, and they have to relay that to us very clearly. And that's the only way we can build great product and collaboration. So I heard the QA guy earlier saying that, okay, the QA needs to be involved from the beginning, when the requirements are being gathered. It's important so we don't work in silos. So you don't have the product managers just doing things and say, okay, you know what, I should come up with a backlog. I've got to put everything, you guys just do the task. So the engineers need to be involved. So when I say engineers, like QA and software, they need to be involved in the ideation, basically just coming up with the requirements. And also the product manager also need to be there, and during the implementation phase. It's very important that we work together all the time. And finally, one of the key things that, is really that we are one team. So again, in our case, even though we are two different departments, but our reports are actually going out together, that we are one team. So if things work out, great. We all did great together. If things do not work out, then we all take the blame and just learn from that and move on. So yeah, this is me.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, right.
Thank you. That was really good. Thank you very much. It was nice seeing you again, though. It's been a while.
Nice.
So we'll now go back to my friend in Ghana. Where is he? Fifi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Funto.
Hey, Fifi, how are you? Nice
I'm
to
doing
see
very
you.
well. How are you guys?
We're good. We're good. We're good. Nice to meet you again. So, Fifi is a software engineer, or well, more than that, a CEO, but is an engineer at heart and a cloud architect. So he'll be taking us through on his journey and his contributions to the product team and and all that. Yeah. So Fifi, please.
Awesome.
Also from the CEO perspective, how the product impacts your role as an engineer and as a CEO. Yeah, basically. Thank you.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. My name is Fifi Baidu. I'm the chief architect. I usually don't call myself the CEO. I prefer chief architect for CloudPort. And CloudPort is a Google Cloud partner that helps organizations to make use of efficient and effective cloud solutions. So my journey started as a freelance developer between 2003 and 2007, building mostly software, mostly websites actually for clients. But in 2008, I realized freelance wasn't really for me because I lacked the experience of managing the entire process from invoicing to client management to sourcing new deals and all of that. I just wanted to focus on building products and software. So in 2008, I joined IT Consortium, and this is where most of my product development journey started. I have a background in visual arts and design. And at IT Consortium, I was hired as a developer to work on products. However, in less than 9 months, I was wearing the hats of senior developer to technical project manager to QA to tester and all of that. Back then, usually when a developer is given a task, it's like, okay, this is what a client wants, deliver it. And you have to either build, well, you most of the time have to come up with the specs and everything. And I didn't complain much back then, even though other people should be doing this. But I, most of the time, just went ahead and did all of that. And that gave me a lot of experience in different roles. At IT Consortium, we mostly built payment solutions. This was back in 2008. And we're one of the first companies to roll out payment collection from the bank for merchants. So you could go pay utility bills, and then in real time, it reflects at the merchant's end. After IT Consortium, I worked for a couple more companies, but the one I remember the most is Google, where I actually picked a lot from Google's processes and how they built product, how they tested product, and how they took their time to, roll out product. Google has the concept called dog fooding. So usually when we are building product or when they are building product, since I don't work there anymore, they focus more on how to get, actual people using and testing the product that they'll be rolling out. So over the years, I picked up some of these processes in building products for myself, or either by myself or together in a team. And I'm always updating and modifying these processes. So most of the time I focus on MVP, right? So a client has an idea, or even we have an idea to build a product. The very first thing is, okay, let's focus on an MVP so that we know we can easily validate and test the idea. So the MVP helps us to test and validate whatever features we want to build next. And also helps start, it's usually like a basic starting point for us. Most of the time, when it comes to MVPs, I am not looking at launching the product publicly. It's more of, okay, this was the concept, this was the problem we had, we identified, this is the solution that we've come up with, let's test it. And that makes it easy for you to polish, clean it up before making it publicly available. It does not mean that we won't have public beta testers or not at all, no. So most of my processes is a combination of, we actually do start with a design sprint to test the solution concept on real people. So a problem first, and it's really important that a problem must be identified for me and my team. We identify a problem and we know that we're going to use a design sprint approach to come up with potential solutions for that problem. So after the design sprint, we usually form a product team. And the product team, most of the time, and always has a product owner, together with the product concept that was identified in the previous design sprint. And the other the other team members is made up of people with different functional roles. And their main responsibility is to design and develop the product, deploy the product, support and maintain the product. So as I said, usually after the initial sprint or the design sprint, we work in other sprints, usually about 7 sprints, in addition to conclude on a working prototype or an MVP. I'll share with you some of these sprints that I have identified and I usually work with. The goal of the entire 7 sprint is to manage the product development process for the MVP. So first we ideate and select which features, functions, and etc. we want to focus on and build for the initial release. And then we design the prototype. We work with experienced and gifted UI UX designers like Ayobami, Richard. I've worked with Richard as well in the past. Very excellent designer. Just to come up with the workflows, clean up the thought processes, as well as what UX really will work for this particular product. And then we architect the solution. This is where we focus more on the processes, the CI/CD, etc. How we are going to release, design, building the pipelines and all of that. And then we architect and build the DB. We then develop the front end and put everything together, and we launch an MVP, which we usually call 0.1.0.
We need to round up, right? So that
sure.
Yeah.
So I am actually almost done. So most of the time when we building a product, we make sure we've identified a problem first before coming up with an idea. We build an MVP quickly to get feedback, and then the solution that we come up with should have a specific person in mind who will be willing to pay for it and willing to test, or even uses the solution to solve a particular problem for them. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Fifi. Thank you so much. We have Anu coming up next. Anu is here. She's the CEO of Nedrock, product management consultant. She's one of my mentors, so I'm happy to have her here on the call. Thank you, Anu, for joining us. Please introduce yourself, and we're here to learn from you. Thank you.
Hi, Funton. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for the warm welcome, and it's an absolute privilege to be here in a product management African community, and that's exciting for me. So a brief introduction about myself. Let me just share. Let me just share quickly. I need permission to share.
I'll give you the permission now. Sorry about that. Okay, you have permission now. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, I've got a slide about myself. So I'm actually from India, and I've been now in Cape Town, South Africa, right at the tip of Africa. I've been in Cape Town for about 20 years now, and I feel like I'm a bit of a hybrid person. I love the emerging markets, I love Asia, and I love Africa. My roots, I still go back to India every 2 years, so I love both India and Africa. I started off, I did electronics engineering and started off as a coder. I did 10 years of actual coding on Microsoft platforms. And to date, I still love coding. There are moments when I think, oh, maybe I should do a bit of coding, but I haven't done it recently. After 10 years of coding, I then moved on to product management. And I worked for various companies, both overseas companies who had set up their offices in Cape Town and local companies. And I think a lot of the companies that I worked with that had set up offices in Cape Town that were from the US and UK kind of sow some seeds in me. So because the US and UK have very solid, good product companies. And their way of thinking helped me kind of decide, you know what, I want to actually be a product manager. And what triggered it is I went to an agile workshop and they talked about a product owner role. And I was like, geez, that's exactly what I want to be. And I came back into my company and spoke to my boss and they were like, oh, what does a product owner do? And I'm telling, and this was about 15 years back. I don't want to expose my age, but it was long ago and it was the beginning ages of product management. And then I pretty much had to help them define that role and they allowed me to transition into that role. And that's how I transitioned into product management. I kind of did coding half time and half product ownership. And I was actually, it was lucky that they allowed me to transition. And I mean, that's one of the tips that I have. If you want to transition into product management, try and do it within the organization you're in because you're likely to get there faster because you've got, they respect you. So yeah, so I transitioned into product management. And the other thing that triggered my transition was the frustration of working with enterprise software, where you often don't think about the user and the customer. You think you are the user and the customer, and you make a lot of assumptions, and you design screens, and you design a lot of things with all these assumptions. And you know what? The user doesn't use half of the things, or it actually takes them 5 hours and it should take 2 hours. So I was frustrated with enterprise software and user experiences around it, and I wanted to change the way that works. And that's another reason I decided to go into product management. And yeah, so I've worked with various corporates, like Visa being one of them, Prodigy Finance, which is in the fintech space, a startup doing amazing things. So if you're from the emerging markets and you want to do an MBA in Stanford, it's pretty expensive. And going to a bank, the interest rates are pretty high. And what they do is they've got a funding mechanism that allow you to actually do your MBA, and the interest rates are very low. So I'd worked with various company sizes, corporate startups, and learned to understand the difference, product management, the difference in these different size companies. It's always different. So yeah, so then I did 10 years of product management, actually over 10 years. And then I started my own consulting company. So Nedrock is a product management training and consulting company. These days, we don't do a lot of public workshops. A lot of our workshops are within organizations internally. And one of the principles that I work with is that in order to create a great product, it's not just a strong product management. You need a strong team. And so a lot of our training is focused on working with teams, not just product managers. So we work with product owners, product managers, UX, design, developers, QA, data analysts, because it takes all these people to create an awesome product. And often when we do training and it's just focused on the product owner, product manager role, it can only take you so far. You need to build a great team that creates a great product in the market. So we focus on creating teams that understand the role of product management, and creating strong teams that follow certain principles like autonomy, like cross-functional teams. You need a cross-functional team. You need a team that has all the skill sets to create a product in the market. And that's why a lot of our training has been now internally focused, because one of our principles is it takes a team to create a great product. So we do a lot of training, internal training. And then what we do also is, it's one thing to do training, right? You do a 2-day training course. And to put it into practice is a very different story. It's a very difficult thing. We see a lot of people struggle putting all the theory that you've learned into practice. Although we do a lot of practical things in the workshops, when you hit your organization, you hit with very different challenges, as most of us know, right? So what we do is we help with implementing and doing things, and things like grooming, things like product discovery techniques. How do you do it? How do you continuously do it? How do you manage your time as a product manager? You need to make time for everything. So how do you manage that? So we do a lot of practical consulting within the product teams and focusing mainly on the product manager in that case. We also, in Cape Town, we have a lot of startups. We have a lot of accelerator programs. I work with a lot of accelerator programs, sometimes on as a mentor, and sometimes as running workshops. So we do a lot of workshops. So we do product management and agile workshops within the accelerator programs. And very often what we find is in startups, it's one of the co-founders who's playing the product management role. So we work with the founders to help create, to help them understand that role, what they need to be doing to build the right product. The other thing we do is coaching. We work with a lot of, we do coaching, we do product management. We run coaching programs within organizations where they have a large number of product managers. We create a program for them. We pick strong people who've shown strong talent and interest, and we put them through the program. And one of the key things that I see coming out of that is strong product managers who enter the market after that, which is great for me. I mean, I love working with product managers, and a lot of people who have a passion for it. So in that way, the way I see it is we're creating more strong product managers who go out in the market and share that talent with other people as well. So we create product management, a program within the organization, work with strong talent and help them create great products. And the other thing is we do coaching with if you are an aspiring product manager and you're not sure how to get there, we work with individuals. We work with if you've got an interview and you're not sure how to what questions you're going to ask, you want a bit of assistance with that, or you've started a new product management job and you want some help to establish your position within the organization. We do coaching around that as well. So that's what NetRock does. NetRock is 4 years old now, and yeah, so we primarily work in South Africa at the moment, and in some work in Africa as well. So I don't know, Fonte, if I've overdone this now. You need to warn me.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I guess because we kind of had a spillover, but I'm trying to see if we can get back on track. So we'll just move to the next now. Thank you so much, Anu. So I mean, anyone who is interested, she's a coach. She can coach you on product management. She's available. Please reach out to her. She coaches me, so I can recommend her anytime. So next on the line, we have Tokes of Life. Tokes.
Hello.
Hi, Tokes. So Tokes.
Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Yeah. So Tokes he was my boss in when I was in Conga. One of the best bosses I've ever worked with. Oh, wow. He's here he's now the CEO of Kotta & Kosh as well as Dufuna. I mean, he's running quite a lot of startups. So he's going to be talking to us from the product perspective, as a CEO, everything, all the experience he has gathered over the years, working with Google. You know, he has a wide range of experience. So we're happy to have you here, Tokes. People are waiting to hear your story. And yeah,
thank you.
Thanks for honoring our invite. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so I've got about 8 minutes, so I'll try to keep to time. So like Funto said, thank you so much for the introduction, Funto. My name is Tokes, and I've worked with a few companies. I started out in MTN Nigeria, where I worked within the network management team, helping. That was where I think I got my first product experience, although I was on the development side. But it wasn't like it was structured per se. We were just hustling. It was a startup at the time. It started with a lot of money. So we got to do a whole lot of things, solve a lot of network related problems. We're building applications to monitor the network and ensure that the network was up and running. So I was working there back in the time when the whole country won't be able to recharge and load airtime at a particular point in time, or they'll just charge freely. So we faced lots of interesting problems. And one of the things I learned working for MTN is never waste a crisis. Every opportunity, every downtime, every time your product is not working is an opportunity to learn and you can always take that learning and that knowledge as you go along your career. It was interesting that when I started working in Conga, many of the things I first implemented were the things I actually learned in MTN many years before then. So the crisis or the problems we had never wasted. It was always useful. So after MTN, I lived in the UK for about 10 years. And while I was in the UK, I worked for an arm of an investment bank. I worked at the University of London for a bit. Did a short project at IBM. Then I worked for BSkyB as well, British Sky Broadcasting. And then I worked at Google. So at Google, I was at Google for about 3.5 years, where I worked within the enterprise team. And we're involved with deploying Google apps across Central Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So yeah, lots of travel, lots of meeting interesting people, and learning about deploying products at scale. So I got tempted to join Conga. It was interesting. Joined Conga as CIO, and I was director of products. So while I was at Conga, it was really interesting. I learned a lot of interesting things. And one of the things I learned, not blaming anyone in particular, but it's just a fact of life, is you can burn through a lot of money very quickly if you're not careful. If the idea of product development and doing it in an iterative fashion helps you and helps your budget. We were moving very fast. We didn't know how big the market was. That's another lesson, that Africa is not Silicon Valley. So when you copy and paste your models, or just understand that you're not in Silicon Valley, you're in Africa. Do not confuse the population. Like Nigeria will say we have 200 million people in the country, but do not think that's your addressable market. So for example, some of the presenters today have been around a while and they've got 10,000, 20,000 users. We may think it's small, but I bet that wasn't easy to come by. So lots of respect for those people. But that shows you that the entire 200 million people is not your addressable market. The people online is a subset of that. Lots of people are poor in many African countries, and Nigeria is one of them, probably the country with the highest number of poor people. So that's, so yeah, this is not Silicon Valley. Do not confuse population density with density on the internet. You can burn through lots of money very quickly. But the thing I really learned that I found really fascinating at Conga is that talent is equally distributed, evenly distributed, but opportunity is not. So when I joined Conga, a lot of the development a lot of applications were built abroad. And I think my call to fame at Conga was just putting my neck on the line and saying, we can actually develop things in here. And yeah, so eventually we did it. And by the time, a few years later, after we started developing locally, companies reached out trying to either copy what we're doing. One of the things was what Sponsor built, which was the marketplace. There was a company out of India that said, hey, there's no point reinventing the wheel. Can we just have what you've got already? And I was quite surprised because, all respect to all Indians on the call. I know just spoke before me. Indians and software is almost like saying Chinese and Kung Fu. You just believe that if you're Indian, you're good at it. So having them say, let's copy what you're doing was a really, really great endorsement to what we had achieved. So that was one. And there was another European company that reached out as well. So it just shows that we've got it in us. We just need to establish the right processes, know what we're doing, and ensure that we're able to continue to iterate, find out about ourselves, find out about our market, find out about our users. That's another interesting point I've learned. I think one of the speakers earlier talked about this, about the fact that it's not so hard to understand your users. Spend time with them. That was another interesting thing I learned while working at Conga and working in my current role as well. So now I'm involved in talent development, essentially working on developing software engineers, developing product managers. We're rolling out a program now, thanks to COVID, but luckily we started doing this before COVID, online, where we're going to be training software engineers in Nigeria and now across Africa. So, but across Africa vision is to start out of Zambia. So we have a relationship with an organization called Bongo Hive. So from Bongo Hive, we're then going to expand beyond Nigeria and Zambia to other African countries. So I think I'm around about 7 minutes now. So that's what we do. And we've brought everything onto a mobile app. The entire process will be managed digitally and electronically. And this is not just the delivery of the content only, but everything from selection to delivery of the content, to testing, to the integration with Git, for example, for customer feedback. Sorry about the background noise. Everyone is working from home here. So that's what we've built. We've built everything end to end. Again, what's worked for us is understanding our customers, spending a lot of time with engineers and developers has helped us, and we fed that feedback and our experience working with them into the app, and that's enabling us now to train lots and lots of people. By the way, just as a roundup, many people, I'm sure I've seen a few people hail Conga from different angles. Many people working in lots of tech companies now across Nigeria came out of that cohort. Many people actually working out of Berlin now, again, came out of that Conga cohort. That just tells you how much talent is in this country. We don't want to lose all of them to Europe. Unfortunately, sometimes the reality is that we'll do that, but that's it. So talent is everywhere. Know your customers. Do not confuse Africa for Silicon Valley. It is not. Thank God we don't hear Yabacon Valley anymore. It is not. We are in Africa. We need to learn how things work here and make it work. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tokes. That was so great. Fantastic. Thank you. Yes. And so we're going to Tom. Tom Bruno, are you there? Hi,
yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. How are you?
Good,
Nice
good, good. Thank you.
Okay. So Tom is joining us from Dublin, right?
Yes,
He
correct.
works with Google as a product leader. So yeah, it's nice to have you on board, Tom. So please go on, take us through your journey, how you've worked in Google, built out products, and all that. And basically, I know quite a number of people wondering, oh, how can I get into Google as a product manager? I mean, you could also give us tips and ideas, right?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, cool, great. First of all, thank you so much for that introduction. I hope everyone is fine. I hope you and your family are fine. I'm very honored to be part of this community. So my name is Tom Bruno. I'm a global product lead at Google for AdSense. Google's a massive company with a lot of products, and even in those products, you only work on certain features of the product. So I specifically work on AdSense. AdSense is our product that basically content creators use to monetize their assets. So if you have a blog and you want to make some money, you show ads, etc. In a lot of cases, you would probably turn to AdSense to basically want to use that to monetize your real estate. So I'm from Kenya, actually. I've traveled across Africa. I've been to Nigeria a lot of times. I love Lagos. I have a lot of friends from Nigeria. I've been to Ghana and a lot of West African countries as well as East African countries. And I've been in various positions at Google. So I actually started off as a business associate at Google. Then I was an account manager at some point for the sub-Saharan African market, working with blue chip companies across Africa. Then I was then a UX and analytics consultant for a lot of blue chip companies across Africa as well. So working with CMOs, CIOs, as well as CDOs, helping them with their mobile UX, as well as digital journey in general. You could call it digital transformation. I just transitioned to a product strategy and commercialization role sometime last year, which is what I'm doing at the moment. And so today I want to talk to you, I want to talk to you guys about, so first of all is, what's the path to a product manager? A lot of the presenters have talked a lot about product and the product process, etc. So I do not want to repeat what has been covered. I would really want to talk about path to product management. If you're thinking of working at Google at some point in future in your career, I would also talk a little bit about that in terms of what kind of skills do recruiters or what are some of the things that you should basically be thinking about. I'll talk a little bit about finding a mentor. I'll talk a little bit about an MVP, as well as I'll recommend some books. I know I only have 8 minutes to talk, and I'll try and be fast as much as I can. So in terms of path to product management, the first thing you need to understand is what type of PM do you want to become? Do you want to become a technologist PM or a generalist PM or a business-oriented PM, right? And that's also really informed by the type of company. So if you work at, say, Amazon as an example, they're most likely, again, I'm not saying this is what they do, but, based on my research, in a lot of cases, they look at folks with MBA, etc. And those are folks who generally end up as PMs at companies like Amazon. If you look at Apple as an example, they tend to really favor design, right? So like people with strong design background tend to make really good PMs at companies like Apple. And whereas if you look at Google or Facebook or LinkedIn, etc., they tend to go for technologists, people who are deeply technical, or people with a bit of technical depth, as well as they're also business savvy, right? So first thing is to map out what type of PM do you want to become, right? And then two is what company. You could also be working for your own company. I was quite inspired seeing quite a lot of the presenters here. They basically run their own companies. So some products are still nascent, some products are mature, etc. So if you want to work at Google, in a lot of cases, the type of profile that they usually go with is people who are deeply technical, right? So a computer science background or a statistics background or engineering background tend to be desirable, right? Because the focus really is always on technology solutions, right? Or backend platforms, or really highly complex type of B2B type of platforms. And also generalists also tend to make really good hires as well, or people with like generalist type of profile also tend to be desirable. And if you're looking to become like a generalist PM, the type of skills you're looking to build mostly around having a very strong technical background and really complementing that with something like an MBA or like a business master's degree to really get to understand the business ecosystem. And then business oriented really is just, like people basically with business background, etc. But regardless of the type of PM that you want to, the type of PM that you want to be, in terms of skills that you really need to build, and, I've spent a lot of time building these skills myself. You can never have all of them. It's a journey, and you need to really understand where you are in that journey, identify where gaps are, identify mentors who can help you fill those gaps. You need to read a lot. You need to be able to do a lot of research. The first thing is always having a very good business acumen, right? So you really need to be comfortable with business strategy. That means that if you're building a product, even if it's your own startup or you're working for a company and you're building a product, understanding business strategy can really be beneficial. You want to understand how does the competition look like, right? Where are you competing? Are you competing on cost? Are you competing on differentiation? Understanding things like Porter's 5 models and all those kind of stuff, etc., can really be useful. Knowing how to build a go-to-market plan, right? Some bit of marketing, I would say, but go-to-market plan is more like a wider strategy of how you're going to take your product to market, right? How you're going to create a feedback loop and so on and so forth. Knowing how to do pricing, some sort of like basic accounting skills can also be extremely useful when you're thinking of becoming a PM, because a PM, you're basically a CEO of a product, right? You're a CEO, but just like really managing a product, which means that your role is very cross-functional in nature. You're working with the finance team, you're working with the marketing team, you're working with the engineering team, you're working with legal, and so on and so forth. And so having some bits and pieces of basically understanding all those core different functions and being able to speak their language is very important. The other skill that is very key is obviously market orientation. Ability to anticipate market trends, read a lot of research reports, building on consumer insights, etc. Like reading a lot about ecosystems and how ecosystems look like, etc. And also the other thing, because as a product manager, as I said, you're a CEO of a product and you're working with a lot of cross-functional teams, soft skills are also very important. You need to be able to influence people, like lead and communicate or really articulate yourself really well when you're communicating with different teams and like diverse groups of people as well. So influencing as a skill influencing us as a soft skill, and other soft skills such as communication in general are very key. And obviously, I spoke a little bit about technical skills, ability to go deep on technology trends, architectural questions, because you need to be able to build that credibility with engineers. When you're talking with engineers, you cannot just focus on the business, but you need to be able to roll up your sleeves and, like code if you can, or using SQL to query data and so on and so forth, right? And then customer experience grounding, or really building on the user is very, very important. And that's really like core product development. Is you need to have, you really need to have empathy. You need to be able to listen. And, sometimes, especially people coming from very tech backgrounds, they tend to do what we call push, right? You come up and say, I'm going to build this machine learning model that's going to do X, Y, and Z, and you push it out to consumers. So that works, but sometimes you have to do it vice versa, right? Or we basically call pull, by listening to users, understanding what users want, understanding what's working, what's not working, and really digesting that, digesting those insights and using that to inspire or inform the type of product that you're basically building. So if you're aspiring to become a product manager, it's very important that, you do that research. One is to understand what type of PM you want to become, right? Like product management is different. It's different for different companies, but they're kind of like fundamental skills that you need to build. And especially for those folks who usually start their own companies, in a lot of cases, you're actually acting in a PM capacity, like when you technically think about it. And so building those type of skills, and it's not like you need to have all these skills for you to become a PM. As I said, it's a journey, right? Once you've built some skills and you feel like, okay, cool, I feel a bit confident, in like my ability to operate in a product position, then you can always apply for product positions and then identify where the gaps are, and then continue with that journey of building skills, right? And you need to be very open in terms of learning, right? Like always learning as much as you can, like reading a lot of books is very important, because that's really where you spot a lot of market trends. That's really where you spot a lot of like user insights and so on and so forth. In terms of once you've decided that, okay, cool, I want to build something, right? It's always good to start with an MVP, okay? Rather than thinking about creating a complete product. There's this really great article by Steve Blank that basically says an MVP is not a cheaper product. It's about smart learning, right? Like MVP is not always smaller, cheaper versions of final products like the way most people always think. It's about really defining the goal for an MVP that can save you tons of time, money, and grief as well. My former presenter just, I think it was Talks, who just said that you can actually burn a lot of money, right? And so always doing what we call prototyping and prototyping with like very, very basic things before taking your product to market is very important. Let's say you're building a remittance company as an example, right? You may want to test that out with 10 folks before committing your investments and time towards, like creating like a really full product that might cost you a lot of money, etc. So always work with an MVP mentality when you're creating a product. Like even if it's a feature, you don't need to roll out the full feature. Start with an MVP or have an alpha, to try it out with a few customers, see how customers respond to that particular feature. You could do a survey or market or focus groups, etc. to validate some of the hypotheses that you have. But really involving users throughout your product development cycle is very important. So whether you're doing an alpha or you're doing a beta, it's very important that you bring users on board, or what we call lead users, people who are probably advanced in the way they would use your product, to give you that early feedback before committing a lot of money to put into something that may or may not work. Right. So those are some of the things that, I just wanted to highlight to you guys today. So kind of like in summary, I would just like to say that becoming a PM is very important that you focus on the user, learn to work with UX and design teams. It's very important that you build your technical competency, especially if you're in the software product development world. You know, there are different types of product managers in different companies. You know, you could be a product manager in a finance company or say like a bank, etc. And the scope of that would be very different from a product manager who works in a software development company such as Google, etc. Reading a lot, and you know, like if you build those UX skills, then learning how to do storytelling and influencing is very important, right? Like you need to be able to sell what you're doing before your stakeholders buy, right? So like you need to kind of wear that hat of a salesman in a way, right? And lobbying, and that's really part of storytelling, is you're getting people on board with your idea. And you're also influencing people to be able to, you know, come on board so that they can support your idea, and so that you can actually take your idea forward. And as I said, also, another thing also is, you know, if you're PM, time management and organization is very important. So you need to be very disciplined, okay? And I think a lot of people underestimate that.
Yes.
Because you're CEO of a product, and you know, gaining credibility from your stakeholders is also really about how you organize yourself and how you respect time, etc. And so, in summary, really, that's all I wanted to talk with you guys about today.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much. That was very, very insightful. So we're coming to the end of today's sessions. I think we have Debs, she just wants to do some announcements basically on what we do in Product Management Africa. I don't know if Debs is online. Are you there?
I hope we can ask questions at one time.
We're out of time. That's the challenge.
If anybody wants to ask questions, they can join our Slack channel. I just dropped a link on the chat.
Yes,
so
please.
you can join the Slack channel, drop your questions on the Slack channel, and we're going to pick them up and answer your questions from there, please.
Please, yes. So I think the Slack channel has been dropped the link to the Slack channel has been dropped in the chat box. So you can join from there. Is Debs online?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so that we can just round up. Maven, you can. It should be on Slack.
Okay, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
And big thanks to everyone that really made this a success for us. Like we wouldn't have pulled this off without your cooperation, your participation, and even your attendance right now. Product management or product manager in Africa is a platform where we actually strengthen each other as product managers, as engineers, as product designers. So Fonta has given good intro to that. He has actually spoken on that. So we have an upcoming event which is happening this Saturday. The link has been dropped on the chat. Yes. Or let me just drop this now, just a sec. So we would really love you guys to join. So I'm dropping the link right now on the chat. Okay, great. So we'd really love you guys to join. It promises to be insightful, and you're going to learn a lot as a product manager and even as a product designer and engineer too. So please feel free to drop your questions, to ask your questions via that link, and we're going to ensure that they are being read out on the day of the session. And the link to register will be shared by Isaac. Isaac, please try share the link for the registration. Okay, so before I round up, I'm just going to give a short talk on products, no, not from product management, on my journey rather. It's going to be very brief. So I'm a product manager, and I've been a product manager for about 2 years. And I delved into the space without even knowing what it was. But yes, I'm still standing strong.
And one of my biggest lessons so far has been, so I'm an adventurer, really, and I hope someday that I would, have enough resources to visit at least 5 countries in a month. And I've actually gone into product management with that mindset that building a product is really an adventure, because in as much as we try to put up a front as a product manager that we know everything as in about the products, we try to really show that or display that we are fully aware of what we're building. Sometimes you really do not know what your product is going to be or what is going to turn out to be in 2-3 years from the time you actually started building the product. So it's been an adventure for me, because being at an adventure means that right now you actually know what you know right now, but based on experiences, based on feedbacks, based on experiences, and basically you know what you can actually plan for tomorrow. So so this is more like a short nugget that as a product manager, you need to leverage metrics very well, because you really do not know, like your metrics, the feedback from customers, the feedback from your users will really, really help you in making solid decisions for your product tomorrow. So you must be willing to accept the changes that might come with the market. Like we slept
Mic check.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Funta.
Okay, I think it's coming from there.
Mic check.
Yeah, mine. Okay. I thought it was me. Oh, Debs. So I think we've kind of lost her. But I guess, yeah. So I guess we can then kind of end this conversation. I'm sure we have a lot of things today. Thank you all so much for waiting patiently for 2 hours. This was quite insightful, quite interesting. Thank you to all the speakers, to all the participants. Thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed the session. We hope to do more of this to showcase what we do right here in Africa, Africa to the world. That's the tagline for Product Manager Africa. Thank you, Toby. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Emeka. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Duno.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adetugo. Thank you, Tom, Richard, all the speakers, all the listeners. See you next time. Hope to see you on Thanksgiving. Hope to see you guys on Saturday. We have a virtual Q&A session, and you can ask questions, actually. So that will be a good avenue for you to have a lot of questions answered. All right. Have a good evening, everyone. Bye.
Be awesome.
Bye.
We're still here.
Oh, you are?
You stay there.
All right. Bye, people.
Before you start a private conversation.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.